more we try to help our children succeed, the more they seem to struggle with the simplest tasks. Why are we seeing a generation of kids who are more anxious, less resilient, and more dependent on their parents than ever before, despite us being the most involved generation of parents in human history? The answer isn't that we don't care enough. In fact, it's the exact opposite. It's because we care too much. We are making the number one parenting mistake that even the best, most well-intentioned parents make every single day. We are over-functioning for our children, and in doing so, we are accidentally stealing their confidence. Imagine a typical Tuesday morning in a busy suburb of Chicago. You're rushing to get your 10-year-old out the door for school. You notice his backpack isn't zipped, his lunch is still on the counter, and he's staring blankly at his shoes because he can't find his matching socks. What do? Most good parents jump in. We grab the lunch, we zip the bag, we dig through the laundry basket to find the socks, and we practically shove them onto his feet. We think we're being helpful. We think we're being perfect parents who ensure our kids have everything they need. But here's the hard truth. Every time we do for our child what they are developmentally capable of doing for themselves, we send a silent, subconscious message to their brain. That message is, I don't think you can handle this without me. This is the perfect parent trap. We've been taught by society, by social media influencers in Los Angeles, and by competitive parenting circles in Manhattan, that being a good parent means removing every obstacle from our child's path. We want to be the snowplow that clears the road so they never have to trip or fall. But the problem is, when you clear the road for the child, you fail to prepare the child for the road. Let's look at the data, because this isn't just a feeling. A landmark study from the University of Mary Washington found that helicopter parenting, which is just a fancy word for over-involvement, is directly linked to higher levels of anxiety and depression in college-age students. They tracked hundreds of families and found that children whose parents were ever present, constantly intervening in their social lives and academic struggles, grew up with a decreased sense of self-efficacy. That's the psychological term for the belief that you have the skills to manage your own life. Here's the biological mechanism at play. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for problem-solving, emotional regulation, and decision-making, is like a muscle. It only grows when it's exercised. When a child faces a small stressor, like a difficult math problem or a conflict with a friend on a playground in Brooklyn, their brain fires up. It looks for a solution. If a parent steps in immediately to solve the problem, that brain activity stops. The muscle of resilience stays weak. Over time, the brain actually becomes wired to seek external help rather than internal solutions. We are literally conditioning our children to be helpless. I want to tell you a story about a client of mine. Let's call her Jennifer. Jennifer is a high-achieving lawyer in San Francisco. She's brilliant, organized, and she loves her daughter Maya more than life itself. When Maya was in middle school, Jennifer would check the online grading portal every single night. If Maya had a missing assignment, Jennifer would email the teacher before Maya even knew it was missing. If Maya forgot her cleats for soccer practice, Jennifer would leave $1 million closing meeting to drive them to the field. Jennifer thought she was being a supportive parent, but by the time Maya got to high school, she was paralyzed. She couldn't choose what clothes to wear without texting her mom a photo. She couldn't start an essay because she was terrified of getting a B. She had zero grit. Jennifer realized that by being Maya's external brain, she had prevented Maya from developing her own. So, how do we fix this? How do we find that balance between being a loving, present parent and becoming an over-present obstacle to their growth? I've developed a framework for this. It's called the P.A.U.S.E. method. It's a 5-step approach to stepping back so your child can step up. P stands for presence, not interference. The goal is to be there, but not to take over. Imagine your child is building a complex Lego set. Most parents see their child struggling with a piece and immediately reach in and snap it into place. Stop. Instead, practice active presence. Sit on the floor with them. Watch them. If they get frustrated, don't fix the Lego. Validate the feeling. Say, Wow, that piece looks really tricky to find. I see you're working hard on it. You are present, you are supportive, but the task remains theirs. A stands for autonomy over compliance. We often prize good kids who do exactly what we say when we say it. But total compliance is the enemy of independence. We need to give our kids controlled choices. Instead of saying, put on your blue coat, ask, do you want to wear the blue coat or the red hoodie today? In a suburb like Newton, Massachusetts, where academic pressure is high, this might look like letting your child decide when they do their homework, as long as it gets done before 8 p.m., rather than hovering over them at the kitchen table. U stands for uncomfortable moments. This is the hardest one for good parents. You have to let your child be uncomfortable. If they forget their lunch, let them eat the emergency crackers the school office provides. If they get a low grade on a project they rushed, let them feel the sting of that grade. These are low-stakes failures. It is much better for a 10-year-old to fail a spelling test than for a 25-year-old to fail at their first job because they never learned how to handle a setback. Let's look at a case study from a school district in Seattle that implemented a failure week. They encouraged kids to try things they were bad at. The results were staggering. Anxiety levels dropped by 30% because the kids realized that failure wasn't a monster under the bed. It was just data. It was just feedback on what to try next. S stands for support the process, not the result. Instead of saying, I'm so proud you got an A, say, I noticed how you stayed focused even when that science project got confusing. When we praise the result, the child becomes afraid to try things where they might not get an A. When we praise the process, they become growth-minded. They become resilient. E stands for evaluation. After a struggle, sit down with them. Don't lecture. Ask, what did you learn from that? Or, what would you do differently next time? This moves the experience from the emotional part of the brain to the logical, reflective part. Now, I know what you're thinking, but if I don't help him, he'll fail. He'll be behind. All the other kids in this competitive Los Angeles neighborhood have parents helping them. This is where the advanced layer of parenting comes in. You have to manage your own anxiety. Most of the time, we intervene not because the child needs it, but because we can't stand the discomfort of watching them struggle. We are soothing our own nerves by fixing their problems. Here is your roadmap for the next 30 days. Week 2, the low-stakes pullback. Choose one area. Maybe it's the morning routine or the evening chores. Tell them, I realized I've been doing too much for you, and I know you're capable of doing this on your own. From now on, you're in charge of making sure your soccer bag is packed. And then, you have to let them forget it. If they arrive at the game without shoes, they sit on the bench. It will be painful for you, but it will be the most important lesson they learn all year. The long-term results of this shift are incredible. After 6 months of using the P.A.U.S.E method, parents report that their children are more proactive. They stop asking, what do I do now? And start saying, I've got this. Their cortisol levels drop because they no longer feel like life is a series of traps they need their parents to navigate for them. Let's handle some troubleshooting. What if your child has a learning disability? What if they actually can't do it? The principle remains the same. You provide scaffolding, not substitution. If they struggle with reading, you don't read for them. You read a sentence, then they read a sentence. You provide the minimum amount of help necessary for them to complete the task. What if they get angry? You're a bad mom. Why won't you help me? This is a red flag that they've become addicted to your overfunctioning. Stay calm. Say, I love you too much to keep doing things for you that I know you're smart enough to do yourself. I'm right here while you try. In conclusion, the number one parenting mistake isn't a lack of love. It's a lack of trust. It's not trusting our children's innate ability to handle life's challenges. We think we're being perfect by being ever present, but we're actually creating a barrier between our child and their own potential. Tom Lai, stop being the snowplow. Start being the coach on the sidelines. Your action step for today is very specific. Identify one task, just one, that you do for your child every day that they could do themselves. Maybe it's pouring their own cereal or packing their own backpack. Starting tomorrow morning, stop doing it. Give them the gift of their own capability. If you found this helpful, I want you to comment below with the word pause and tell me which task you're going to hand back to your child this week. I read every single comment, and I'll be there to offer support. In our next video, we're going to dive deep into the anxiety loop, how our own stress as parents is literally contagious to our kids, and how to break the cycle. Thanks for listening. Go let your kids struggle a little bit today. It's the best thing you can do for them. See you next time.